Hi everyone, welcome to Module 3. If you hear crickets in the background, I've got my son in the swing, hopefully falling asleep, listening to the crickets. Okay, so we have officially arrived at the research essay, where we will be conducting research and drafting our essay. So this is probably the most difficult module that we will have in this course. And the main thing that's difficult about it, I think, is how much of the research process you are cramming into 5 weeks. So it's not so much as difficult as it is probably going to be time consuming. So know right off the bat that for this module, you're going to have to be even more intentional about setting aside time to complete these tasks as you walk through the research process and the drafting process. This module's goal is to learn the process of academic research by preparing to research, writing a research proposal, writing an annotated bibliography, and writing the first draft of your research essay. The module is loaded with readings at the beginning of the module, and then it'll be loaded with writing near the end of the module. And hopefully this gives you a balance of information and resources, and then space to apply that information and those resources in your draft. So here are our 4 steps over the next 5 weeks. First, for week 6, we'll begin to think about writing as inquiry. And we'll further hone our research questions and ideas through free writing and optional group brainstorming. Next week, we will begin using the library databases to look for credible sources that inform our questions and our ideas. We will then choose 3 to act as samples of credible sources to include in a research proposal, which you will then write. Thirdly, we will begin to actively research, focusing on building the annotated bibliography. And then the last 2 weeks are where you will be drafting that rough draft. You'll draft in 2-page increments over the span of 2 weeks. And do note that for the last 2 weeks of this module, the due dates are different than our typical Sunday at midnight deadline. And these are indicated by the blue highlight. So go ahead, set an alarm in your phone or put it on the calendar, on the fridge, wherever, that lets you know these last 2 weeks, don't forget, there are different due dates. All right, so here is our breakdown. Week 6, which is this week, you're going to watch this video. You'll watch the Introduction to Writing as Inquiry video. You're going to read about writing as inquiry in your textbook, page 323 to 325. And you will read also generating ideas and text in your textbook. And then you're going to complete 2 assignments and respond to a group of peers. The inquiry application assignment is simply asking you to further think about your question or your research topic as a question. It's trying to get you to think about where exactly your questions are. How much do you know about the topic? How much do you want to know about the topic? In order to make sure that you've got enough questions and enough curiosity about it to be able to find enough sources to have at least 8 pages of a research essay. The next thing that you'll do is a free write. This is exactly what it sounds like. If you've ever done outlining or free writing in other writing classes, you know that you can free write your ideas for a couple of minutes. This talks about looping is another free writing strategy. You can cluster or map your ideas out. This again is just to make sure you've got enough going for your topic that you won't run out of things to research or look up, and therein that you have enough information and resources to adequately write your research essay. And so that's what we're doing this week. You'll respond to groups or your peers in 100 words or more. And this is where you get to brainstorm with each other, and you'll be responding to the free write. So here, if you have any more ideas as you read through someone's free write, or you think they missed something, or there's a path that they hadn't thought of yet, that would be where you would put, hey, maybe try this path out, or hey, have you thought about it like this before? And those things can be really helpful. So we'll move on to week 7. He fell asleep. You will watch the library database tutorial. So in English 102, what typically happens is, if we're in person, we'll spend about a week in the library, and we'll have library professionals come and talk about the library databases and the library resources that you can use when you research. And typically the librarian, Haley Black, is the English 102 librarian, and she does a great job with those workshops and tutorials. But since we're not in person, you'll watch those tutorials online via videos, and those should be already uploaded under your Module 3 videos. So you can watch those. Then you'll read in your textbook tips for writing and reading in various fields of study, and then you'll answer the field of study assignment right here. So this is just going to go over how different fields of study are right in academia, what they focus on, what they emphasize. And while you're obviously writing in the humanities right now, because this is an English 102 class, it is targeted to being interdisciplinary, which means that I want you to start taking stock of the different types of ways that your field of study chooses to emphasize particular qualities or concepts within the writing or the readings that you'll encounter. So this is going to go ahead and start prepping you for the types of articles that you're going to be finding. So for instance, if I'm writing about Shakespeare, then I'm going to be looking at lots of interpretations. I'm going to be looking at lots of linguistic questions from converting the early modern English to our contemporary English. So those sorts of things I'm going to encounter. However, if I'm writing a research paper about hurricanes, then I'm probably going to look at graphs. I'm probably going to look at statistics. I'm probably going to look at a lot of meteorology and scientific concerns. I'm not a scientist, so that's as far as I can go with that. So that's what I mean by tips for reading and writing in various fields. Not only will you be reading articles that emphasize different things, but you'll be writing about those things. So that'll be important. And then you'll apply that in that assignment to sort of your topic. What are you going to look for? What are some tips that are going to help you? What are you going to try to incorporate as you yourself write about the topic? And then we're going to do our research proposal. You'll read about that in your textbook, and I'll give you an example, and you will write your research proposal here. And then we get into week 8, where we write our annotated bibliography. So an annotated bibliography is simply a list of works cited that you are going to reference in your research. This is typically arranged in alphabetical order. You'll use the MLA citation to organize this, and then you'll annotate a handful of them. And annotate simply means you'll talk about who wrote it, what are they saying, how does it impact your research, and what's an example of a quote that you think is relevant to your research. You'll read finding and evaluating sources, and then you'll write your annotated bibliography. And then lastly, we get down to weeks 9 and 10, where you are actually going to draft your essay. So here you're going to watch sort of a video that helps you kind of get pepped up for drafting. You're going to read about drafting in your textbook, and then you'll draft 2 pages by Thursday at midnight, and you'll draft 2 pages by Sunday at midnight. We'll come down to the next week, and all I want you to do here is draft 2 pages by Wednesday, the last 2 pages by Sunday, and then put it all together for a full rough draft submission by that Sunday at midnight. And that's going to be a different submission portal, so just look for that. All right, the reason that there is a difference between this last 2 pages and the entire draft is because I do not require you to draft your essay in order. You can start wherever you want to start in your essay and start talking about whatever you want to start talking about. And then as you near this ending of your last 2 pages, you can go ahead and kind of start thinking about how you want to organize your essay, and you'll put it together in sort of a tentative, organized. It's really, really rough. So just put it together however you think it fits best at the moment, and we will workshop it and revise it in our next module. So before we move on to talking about Module 4, what I want you to know about this module is that while there are a lot of things that you're doing, I want you to know that we're still just starting to think about research. We're still just starting to think about where our topic is going to take us. We're still just starting to think about actually putting those ideas and what we find on paper. There is no pressure for you to be perfect. There's no pressure for you to write incredibly well on this. I obviously want you to try your best, but this is a rough draft. And I think a lot of times we forget what rough draft means. It means that it's probably going to suck, and it's okay that it does because it's our first draft. And our next module is dedicated to making what we've got on paper, to making that a really good research essay. And we'll get there, but first we've got to get our ideas and we've got to get our research out onto the paper. Okay, so that is a breakdown of the next 5 weeks. As you head to Module 4, we will have participated in the research process by actually researching through library databases, through the archives if you choose to do that. You can do interviews, you can reach out to people and do ethnographies. You can do whatever you'd like to do for your research, and you'll see that I've given you some space in some directions that you'll encounter a little bit later in the weeks, giving you space to really be free and take initiative and agency over how you want to research your topic. You will have then created a research proposal. You will have compiled a bibliography with annotations, and then you will have actually written 8 pages of your research essay, which hopefully takes the pressure off of our next module in revision, because you've already got 8 pages. So now all you have to do is fix it, right? Make it better. Okay, so what we can look forward to in Module 4 is learning and practicing revision strategies, which is really, really important. I don't think is stressed enough in classes, because we always try to cram as much as we can and as many concepts as we can in a course. And sometimes we say, hey, revision is important, and then we don't give you time to do that. So hopefully the way that this course is organized will give you the appropriate time and space to really consider what revision means and how it can be used in your essay. You'll write a revision plan for me. We'll talk about what you want to change, why you want to change it, how will it help your essay. You'll make a timeline again of when you plan on incorporating that revision, and then you'll implement that plan and turn it in as your revised essay. So we're in the middle of the semester now, and this is where the rubber hits the road, so to speak. Just know that I still know and understand that life happens, and if you ever have any questions or any problems, or you run into something major that's going to hinder you from completing any of these assignments, I'm always an email away, and I want to help you succeed, and I'm here to make sure that you have every opportunity and resource to succeed in this course. So with that being said, I look forward to seeing you in the modules.